Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Munce Report. Trainer Chris Munce is here to bring us all the latest news and another winning week for the stablemate. Stable's going well.
Going well, yeah, really well. I thought Majestic's win on Friday night at Caloundra was super. He went from a maiden to a benchmark 60 race and had top weight of 59 kilos, but in first go at a mile, there was a lot of things against him, but he certainly overcome them, and he was very tough and raced well.
Yeah, certainly did. We'll talk about him and some other weekend performers in the show ahead. We've also got some owner education where Chris is going to run us through a specific piece of gear that's used on the horses. We've got a runner to follow as we head into the Winter Carnival, and as well as the usual weekend previews heading into a big weekend of racing. So let's get into it. As we mentioned, another winning week for the stable, and Majestic's Request, who we've already touched on, was a good win, and backing up from a maiden win. Sometimes it's hard for horses to do that, isn't it? Go from a maiden win to win the next start, but he's done that.
Well, it's hard enough to go to a Class 1 and win after a maiden, but believe it or not, I've seen some very good horses get beat going from maiden to a Class 1 and then they come out and win, but he certainly defied that, went to a benchmark 62, which is even more difficult because you're taking on horses that have won a couple of races. But he did it well, so I think the way he's going and the form he's showing at the moment, I'm going to give him a go in the big league. He'll run in the Daybreak Lover now in 2 weeks' time, a 3-year-old 1400 metre race here at Eagle Farm as a prelude to the Winter Carnival, and just see where he's at. You know, if he races competitive in that sort of a race, well, certainly there's a lot of, it opens up a lot of doors for us.
Very good. Well, yeah, exciting that the Winter Carnival is around the corner and the team's already assembling. There are also some other notable mentions over the weekend. Hot Sauce settled closer to the speed this time and finished third in a 1600 metre maiden.
Went really well. She's a nice filly that's still learning a lot. She's just taking a long time to sort of get used to things, but Friday night, from a good draw, Mark had a couple of ordinary horses drawn inside him, and he probably just had to use up a little bit too much petrol to cross them. And she probably raced up a little bit closer than what we would have liked, but she still ran very well to finish third, so she's a nice filly in the making. Yeah,
that was a good run, and then the consistent Valley of Dreams was again fighting out the finish. Obviously didn't go your way or her way, but she's always in amongst it, isn't she?
Very genuine, and had a really good preparation this time around, so I'm sure there's another win in her not too far away. Just unlucky that he had to roll to the front on her. She's never led before, but it was probably a move that Mark didn't have a lot of options to do, and she travelled well and gave a good kick, so we can't be too critical of the run.
And speaking of leading, failed to mention, he was an improved effort. He stepped out at 40 to 1 and gave the owners a bit of a sight to run third in his race.
Yeah, he did. He's not built like a horse that'll get out of a trip. He's built more like a little half-mile sprinter, but he certainly seems to be finding his niche now, getting up in trip over the mile, and he raced very well, so it was good to see.
Yeah, certainly good to see the horses performing well at the moment. Okay, owner education time, and we're here with the male model Stampy. And today, Chris is going to run us through the nose roll and the role that plays, when you may use it in a training context, and what it does for the horses. So, Chris, take it away.
So, nose roll you'll quite often see in races is a woolly noseband that you see on quite a few horses. The main use for them, or the reason that we use them, is for horses that have a tendency to get their heads up a little bit high when they gallop. You want a horse that's reaching out, getting their head down, stretching for ground, and the nose roll tends to do that. It makes the horses look out over the band part and makes them reach for ground. So I'll apply this to Stampy. Not that he wears it on race day, but we'll apply it to Stampy, and we can see what it looks like on a horse. It's very simple to apply the noseband. You obviously the bridles come up first here like this, as you can see. Then you make sure that the bridle's tight enough. That's probably a little bit loose, so I'll put it up a hole. And the throat strap up. So that's a lot firmer. So then the noseband is basically just tied under here, underneath the cheek straps. Just not overly tight, just firm. So as it holds and does its job. And then you can see that's how it looks when the horse is ready to go to the races. So basically it's for the vision of a horse. They want to be looking out over that noseband sowers. They're lengthening their neck, they're lengthening their head, and stretching out with their front legs to reach for more ground. So one horse of mine that you would have seen it on was Centerfire. She's a filly, a mare that's won a few 5 or 6 races for us, and she quite often wears it. So, and the reason I put it on to her was I just felt that she was just getting her head up the last part of her races and not really lengthening her stride and reaching out for ground at the right time. And as soon as we put it on her, it seemed to do the work. But now she's a more mature mare. She's probably not going to need it all the time. So we'll just have to assess her after a trial or two whether we leave it on or take it off her. So it's quite a useful tool. Not every horse needs it because most horses do tend to reach for ground like Stampy does. But there is the occasional horse that we do tend to use it on. It also helps their horse carry the head in the right position to help them breathe properly when they're in their pace work and in their working gallops, so as they're breathing properly and learning to relax and gallop properly.
Okay, well this week's runner to follow is the horse that we're with in the box now, Rhapsody Rose, who she's already a multiple stakes winner, Chris, and with the Winter Carnival upon us, we thought it'd be a great time to introduce her and talk about her aims this preparation.
Yeah, well, she's a lovely filly, Adam, really is. She's very tough. As you said, she's a multiple stakes winner now, and she'll probably just be aimed for all the normal 3-year-old fillies races, and we'll try and assess whether she can get to a mile or more. You know, she's a bit of a highly strung filly, but she seems to be very tough. So I'd like to hope that if we can get her out to a mile, that you never know, she might get the 1800, 2000. But I mean, we'll let her tell us the story whether she wants to do that or not.
Sure. She's been in the stable a few weeks now. What are your thoughts on how she's looking and how she is heading into her preparation?
She's very well. Her coach still got to clean up a little bit more, but that'll come with a couple more gallops and a couple of trials. She hasn't trialled yet. She'll actually have a barrier trial next Tuesday at Doomben, and then from there we'll assess. You know, she'll probably have a second one, but then we'll assess what sort of distance we start her off at and where. Looking forward to the races for the winter.
Very good. Well, she's pretty clever. She's just untied my shoelace, so she knows what she's doing. And just talk about last preparation. You're talking about this preparation. You want to see if she steps out over a mile. What did you learn from her last preparation?
Well, she like I said, she's a bit of a fiery filly, but I mean, she won over 1400 here, carrying 59 kilos very easily. And the way that she performed that day, I do believe that she'll run a mile strong. How far we get past a mile, I'm not so sure. But you know, we'll give her an opportunity. We'll give her every opportunity to tell us where she wants to go.
Very good. Well, there it is. You heard it here first. Rhapsody Rose, a runner to follow over the Winter Carnival. Okay, weekend preview time, and Doomben on Saturday takes centre stage. Kintamani, who debuted a few weeks ago, ran 4th on debut. He steps up. It's a cutest 2-year-old handicap, so similar sort of race, and also has an option at the Sunshine Coast on Sunday with him.
Yeah, well, he's a really nice horse. He's probably, in my opinion, still 6 months away, but he's done a really good job this preparation. He's handled it quite well. I thought his first up run was very good. He got back and he was just starting to make a bit of ground and had his run impeded at a pretty crucial stage. It certainly didn't cost him the race, but I felt he should have finished a little bit closer. So he's drawn well on Saturday at Doomben. Brad Stewart's to ride, so I'm sure he'll give him a good ride. But he also does have an option for a 1400 metre maiden on Sunday at Caloundra, so we'll just have to wait to see if that race holds up, and then I'll make a decision when the barriers come out for that. But I'm probably leaning at this stage to run him in town from a good draw.
Okay, very good. As you said, Brad Stewart aboard, and so good luck to the Strong Bloodstock team and partners there with Kintamani. Dash for Dreams is the other runner lining up in a benchmark 78 handicap over the 1350. We mentioned her in recent weeks. She's obviously establishing a great record, but now it's time for her to step up from that provincial grade to a Saturday race.
Yeah, well, she's just a beauty. I mean, she never runs a bad race for us. She's always there, genuine, puts in, and she'll do exactly the same again on Saturday. She'll race on the speed there somewhere. She's trained on beautifully since the last win, and you know, of all the horses in the stable, she's probably doing better than most of them. So, look, I expect her to run very well. Obviously up in grade, but she's that's where she's at now, and she has to aim up to that sort of level.
Sunday, you could have a big team heading up the highway to Sunshine Coast meeting on Sunday. Better Rushes is going to be accepted for a benchmark 62. We're recording this prior to acceptances, and obviously there is a bit of wet weather potentially on the radar, so I guess a bit of a disclaimer there, but let's just go through the runners ahead of the weekend. Better Rush, a benchmark 62 handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Yeah, well, she jumped out here last Thursday and went like a bomb. Really went well and run a sharp time. She's a good little sprinting mare. She's fully mature mare now. Like, she's never grown much, but she's just a little speedster. And she loves Caloundra. She's had, I think, 2 goes there for 2 wins or something like that. So she'll race very well, I've got no doubt, particularly if she can be fortunate enough to draw a good gate.
Very good. Well, good luck to Connections there if she does go around. Strategic Success lines up in a maiden play up to the 2,200 metres now, and he's been finishing his races off well, so that should suit.
Bit of a quick jump. It's up to the 2,200 from a mile, but if any horse is going to do it, I think he will, because he's a big striding bloke, and as you said, he's been getting home very hard in his all his runs, his preparation. So he likes Caloundra. I believe he's looking for a trip. So the backing up's probably, I think, a positive more than negative for him.
Okay, then we move on to the maiden plate where there's 3 runners potentially engaged here: Everlast, Scoozy's Fly and Tiptoes, all heading in the same direction.
Yeah, well, barriers will probably determine there what runs and what doesn't run, and obviously weather will have a part to play there as well. But Everlast is a really nice horse. Only 3-year-old, lightly raised. He's just been very immature and slow to come to hand. We've had a few issues with him, but I think he's on track now. He seems to be doing everything right. I do believe he's a 1,400 metre mile sort of horse, but the big track of Caloundra I think will offset that, and if he can draw a nice gate and be able to be somewhere on the speed there, travel, I'm sure he'll race very well.
Okay. Tiptoes was waiting an eternity for that to run and waiting for a dry track.
Yeah, well, Tiptoes, I thought her run the other day, she didn't have any luck at all with the rail out that far. She got back and was wide, and obviously when she turned home she was even wider again to the wrong part of the crown. So I think Sunday, all going well, if she can manage to find the fence and be ridden a little bit more conservatively, just off the speed there, close to the fence, I've got no doubt that she'll run very well. She's working well, and she's a nice mare.
Okay, and the other one, Scoozy's Flyer, he's a 4-year-old gelding who's potentially making his debut?
Potentially, yeah. Barriers, as I said before, will determine whether he runs or not, but he's a horse I do have a bit of time for. He's a tough, wiry sort of horse. Probably not really suited at the 1,200. He probably wants 1,400 metre a mile, but he's certainly, this preparation, handling his workload really well, and it wouldn't surprise me seeing him race to run a good race for us.
Okay, very good. Well, they're the runners for the weekend. Let's hope the winning run continues.
Fingers crossed.